Good morning, YouTube. It is Saturday in Florida, and it is gonna be 51 degrees here. I have no clue. Um, this is just a blah 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 video. No, maybe not. I don't know. I got a few things that I'm going over. Uh, so, for those of you that haven't done your taxes yet, mine are pretty much done. I only had to pay another, I don't know, $760. I do quarterly, so that's all I had left. Something like that. I don't know for sure. I don't remember what the exact number was because, although it is getting paid Monday, I went through some finances. I went through some moolah to get my house and everything, but that'll be at the end of this, I guess, for those of you that aren't interested in that kind of stuff. As far as taxes go, let me see here, what does it say? Any labor above $600 on your truck, if the company is not taxed as a corporation, you have to send them a 1099. I don't know if this is new. I know Hair Sniffer had some stuff passed and so on. So my accountant I did have one labor that was above $600, so they have to get a 1099 to the company because the company that did the work is not taxed as a corporation. Regardless of that fact, let's get down to some stuff. I haven't put my numbers in my computer yet because every time I use my tablet, the program crashes. So I'm seriously considering going to what Steve Snorlord and I just don't think this is straight. What Snorlord and Jeff are using, because I need something that I can open up and just put my numbers in. And if I open it up and I start putting my settlements in and it crashes, then I don't want it. I tried the one that the ex-trucker did, and you can't access it while you're on. It has to be accessed through a laptop. I need something I can access through my tablet. And the one I'm using now, it works. It works well. I mean, I just use it for my stuff. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'll get into that later. Right now, I want to tell you people, note to all of you and me, if you drop your truck off, apparently even at a well-renowned company that has really good reputation, you might have to babysit them. Find out who's going to be working on your truck and how much experience they got or something, because I got burned big time. So in January, on the 21st of last year, I went to a company in Augusta that supposedly does all the work for Freightliner as well up there, or at least that's what they told me, because Freightliner can't handle all their stuff, or they don't have the shopper. I don't know, some kind of, I find it hard to believe. Anyway, so I went up there to get an oil pan leak fixed and go ahead and get my sump pump replaced, as well as the O-rings and a full PM. I got there, they couldn't get me right away. I had them take me to a hotel around the corner and drop me off, because the closest hotel was more of a drug den than the good one down the road. So they took me down the road, dropped me off, and I picked my truck up the next morning after they picked me up. Little did I know that the gentle boy, the child, the person working on my truck did not have a clue or was just learning. So I got stuck. I got stuck in my truck in my new yard. It rained for, this is the basis of the story. It rained for 5 days. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know it was raining. It rained for 5 days straight, pretty much, or 4 days straight. I don't know. It was multiple inches of rain. I knew my yard was just a tad soft, but I didn't have a problem pulling out of there empty or anything like that, and I would not take my truck in there loaded. So I drove there, parked there over the weekend, and went to pull out Monday 2 weeks ago, and I got stuck coming up the hill out of my yard. If I remember, it's this picture right here. So I had to pay $350 to get my truck out. I called a guy I know that has heavy equipment thing that has always wanted me to work for him. I won't do it because I don't approve of his methods, and I can't work for somebody that, let's just say I can't work for him. He's a great guy. He's just not the kind of business person I want to work for. His methods don't ascribe to mine. But that's neither here nor there. So, got pulled out and went and did some loads. I was up in North Carolina. Before I left that day, on my pre-trip, I filled up some antifreeze because I bought like 14 gallons or 12 gallons. 12 or 8, 12. I think it was either 12 or 14, because I think it was 12, because this truck supposedly takes 12 on a flush and fill, and I was going to do that, but I can't do that in my yard because I can't dump antifreeze in the ground because I live on a well, and it's not safe to do that anyway. That's neither here nor there. So I filled up my antifreeze. I put the cap on wrong like an idiot. If you take the cap off and you put it back on and it's hard to turn, you're probably cross-threading it. Now, it wasn't a serious cross-thread, but it did cause my radiator, my reservoir to leak. And I noticed on consecutive pre-trip, post-trips, there was some residue from antifreeze coming from somewhere. Couldn't see where it was coming from. So what happened was, it was coming out the cap very, very slowly, because I had the cap on tight enough that it barely leaked, but it looked like it was coming from either a crack in the reservoir tank or something like that, because in addition to that, the fan on uphill strong blows was blowing it around a little bit. So it wasn't just on the side of the reservoir tank, it was on 2 or 3 hoses, it was on a couple of other things. So the overspray kept getting me, and I'm like, where is this leak coming from? I just fixed a leak on the hose the top hose coming out of my reservoir tank was loose. There was a little bit of drip coming out of there, and I tightened up the clamp and it fixed that. Anyway, so come to find out, I stopped at a rest area. This was after the second load. I was on the way to the second drop, and I stopped at a rest area. I hadn't looked at the base of below where my oil pan is. And, occasionally I skip over that. A quick look. So, anyway, I undid the cap and redid the cap, and while I was in there looking for any PMS or CBBs or anything like that, properly mounted, secured, crack, vent, broken, whatnot, I noticed that I had some oil seepage on the front of my pan again. So this is why I took it in originally in January last year. So it wasn't a considerable amount, but the stream, it was a large, it looked like it was maybe that large. So I checked the other side. The other side looked about the same, so my presumption was it was going all the way across the front of the pan somehow, and I'm assuming when I got stuck, the gasket got knocked loose somehow. So I took the truck into the shop. I was going to take it to these guys, and they're the ones who fixed it in January. glad I didn't. I couldn't make it up there on the way back home. We had work to do on the house, a little bit of work. I mean, we had moving in and all that to do on that because I was getting home that Friday and we were going to move in because the tenants that had previously lived there that were renting it before we bought it finally moved out at the end of December. So I was getting home Friday. I couldn't get there, and there's a guy that's got a stellar reputation in McDonough. What is his name? I don't remember what his name is, but he's got a really good reputation. I mean, really good, but he ain't got room for a trailer. So that was my whole issue with that, is I have to drop my trailer and then go all the way back to McDonough, which is a couple hour drive just to get to the mechanic shop. And there's a local guy in town that I've used. He bought a industrial building from either an estate sale or whatever. I don't know. He acquired this building. So I did some work. I had some work done on him twice already. He did a few things for me. So I said, well, he works on other trucks. I know he does diesels. So he seems to be good at his job. I didn't take him anything major there for him because when I wanted him to do one of the things on my truck, he said that was like an in-depth thing. I mean, it took me 2 hours to fix it myself. Just pop the 2 bolts off and so on. I don't think he knew because he's used to older engines like the Cats and whatnot that are on long nose hood trucks and so on. So I was like, well, I don't know if I want to take it to this guy. He knows diesel work, but these newfangled engines have a few extra features on them that he's not sure about, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's in his head. So I was like, I'll just take it there, get my oil pan fixed, and get a full PM while I'm at it. So I'm guessing about another $2,000. So I dropped the truck off, and the news is, calls me up, and he says, here's the thing. So we got to jack your truck up, and you should see it. It looks crazy because mine is one where you actually have to lift the motor up or drop the axle or whatever just to drop the oil pan. He said, now the gasket, the oil pan gasket is hard. I mean, really hard. And there's a lot of gasket maker sealant, a lot, that is around the oil pan gasket. Red flags start going off in my head because I've worked on cars and I know what this means. 73,000 miles on my gasket that was supposedly replaced. It shouldn't be hard yet. So, and if the oil pan gasket was replaced, it wasn't. I seriously don't think it was. So there was other issues there. He called me a couple of times and he stayed in touch. Let me know what he had to do. He had to order the oil. I went and bought the gasket and the 16 bolts or whatever it was. It was a couple $100 total for, because the bolts were like $8 a piece for the oil pan, because the bolts have they have a tiny little round gasket around them, bushing, whatever you want to call it, that helps keep the pressure regulated the proper way when you tighten the bolt to torque specs and so on. So there's reasons for all that. So I went and bought the gasket and the bolts because he couldn't make it to Savannah until like Monday. And I was like, well, dude, I'm going there Saturday, so I'll go pick it up at the Freightliner place. So I picked it up. This was under the assumption my truck would be ready Monday, possibly Tuesday. And it ended up being not ready until Wednesday because of the screw ups that this company did in Augusta. I have reason to believe they did absolutely nothing. He went ahead and replaced the O-rings for me, which was, here's the list of the original January of 2021. Removed oil pan, replaced pickup tube, O-rings, and sump with a new sump. Mind you, I didn't get charged for a sump. I didn't even notice that on the last time I looked at this. PM service and all football seals and replaced with new ran and unit to verify repairs found all okay at this time. All this labor was $1,100. The parts were like $520. Oil pan gasket, $40. O-rings, 3 different sets for a total of $50, $60, $70. A filter for $60, an oil filter for $27.50, a water separator for $61, synthetic oil 48 quarts for $138, football seals 6 of them for $82. Mind you, I got these for less, and I understand they got their markup prices. They made a killing off of me. Brake cleaner, not put on the brakes brake cleaner, but break your glass brake cleaner, because who knows how to spell that word, for $9.24, and ultra gray gasket sealant, which I'm sure they used the whole thing on my truck, $12.50, for a total of $1,600 and $66.45 after $40 in tax. So oil pan gasket was not replaced. It was replaced with gasket sealant. In the process of replacing the football seals, they kind of stripped out one of my 2 of the football seal holes because they are leaking poquito. What else did they do wrong? I mean, this is stuff I didn't know the oil pan gasket was like that, or I would have promptly went back there and said, "Hey, dummies." So I did notice. I went underneath the truck when I was working on my APU. I was looking at other stuff. I crawled up under there, and I did notice that the back of my oil pan was leaking a tad, and that's why I was losing oil. I am so unhappy about this. So my total bill on the next one was $1,800 and some change. He fixed all this. We'll see if it's 100% certain, but $1,800 and some change because of some nimrods don't know how to fix crap. So needless to say, my January's expenditures were insane. So Happy New Year, everybody. That's just a start. This weather's been crazy. I'm actually using Snorlord to dispatch me. So my thing is, when I book my loads, and I don't believe in dispatchers. I mean, I don't really see the need for them, but I'm kind of changing my outlook on that and stepping out of my comfort zone. Jeff told Snorlord or somebody a while back, he said, you can make more money if you step out of your comfort zone. So I'm not really concerned about the more money part. I'm more concerned about the consistent money part because I'm lazy. I don't really need a dispatcher, but my thoughts are I'll pick loads sometimes where I'll drive 500-600 miles in a day, which means I'm driving all day. And I do not have time, even when I stop for fuel or to take a break, I do not have time to look for loads in the short amount of time I have for that break before I head on down the road. Because I'm really picky. It takes me a while to find a load, especially one that coincides with my requirements. So I am on my 3rd load, and he knows how picky I am. I sent him a list, but once the dispatcher gets in the swing of things with the way you are and the locations you don't frequent at all or anything like that, then, you know, it'll get easier on them. Because I'm going to a place on Monday that, or Tuesday, Monday that, oh my God, I've been there before. I was there for 7 hours and I blacklisted them that time. But I don't have my list because I wrote it down on on this stupid tablet, the Schneider tablet. I wrote it down on here. Not necessarily this one, because there's 3 of them floating around in my truck, and I have no clue where it is. But there was only like 2 or 3 places I had written down anyway, so the majority of them are like, I don't do grocery places, I don't do International Paper, I don't do Georgia Pacific. The majority of the places that usually make you wait 3+ hours, I don't do them. I just don't. And recyclable stuff, I don't do the batteries. I mean, I had a guy that had a really good load. That was a battery load, and he told me what it was. It's recycled batteries on pallets. They're all clean and wrapped. Yeah, okay. No, sorry, I can't do it. I have a food grade trailer. I will not put that on my truck. Or recycled Red Bull. Now, I had some of that on my trailer once, and that got my floor wet and basically needed a trailer clean out. Anyway, so that's the list of my problems. So last week I went out. This week I started on Tuesday, and my day will end on Sunday. My week will end on Sunday. I mean, you could count it as ending on Monday because I didn't start till Tuesday, and if that's the case, it'll be $7,000. But all depends on how you look at it. I look at it on a Sunday through Saturday basis. So technically this Sunday doesn't even count for my drop, but first week of me being out, actually it Monday through Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm shooting for a goal over the next 4 weeks because I gotta generate some revenue. My funds for my truck have completely dissipated because of the move. So those of you interested in trucking, you can stop here. Anyway, my house, when we got moved in, I was parking there for all of December whenever I got home. Now, when we moved into the house, we had this stuff, this drop ceiling crap was in the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, and 4 of the bedrooms, which are our office, our craft room, 2 spares. The whole back section that has the extra den and the master bedroom was all regular hardwood. And we get in there, and I'm dropping a ceiling fan down enough to where she can paint around it. And I see some hardwood, and I'm like, look at this. I said, let me see what this looks like down at the end of the hallway. There's a 4-foot section I can rip out, and if it's not hardwood, then I don't know, we'll figure something out and make it look decent. If it is, we're going to tear out every single roof in these rooms and everywhere and see if it's all hardwood. It was hardwood. So I went down the hallway, went into the living room. So I did the same thing in all the other rooms. I dropped one of the light fixtures or a ceiling fan down enough to where I could see underneath it. No, actually I used it wasn't the ceiling fans, it was the vents for the rooms. So we dropped those, and it all looked like hardwood, and ripped the drop ceiling off, and sure enough, it was all hardwood. And the only thing I can figure these people wanted to do is they wanted to lighten it up a little bit. So why don't you just put some brighter lights in there, man? Anyway, so we did that. I spent maybe $150 between 2 contractor cases of 24 light bulbs a piece, so 48 bulbs. I didn't need that many. I bought that many because I thought I needed more than 24. We just switched all. It wasn't that we needed light bulbs because they were blown. It was that we needed light bulbs because none of them matched. I mean, and it's not, it's not a brand manufacturer match or anything like that. They had, some were yellowed, some were white, or they looked yellowed. They weren't white light or whatever. They weren't all the same kind of lights, and the rooms weren't super bright. So, and then some of them were dim. So apparently these non-breakable light bulbs that you can buy they do just like the headlights on your car. they will dim over time. What? My headlights dim over time? Yes, they do. Just so you know. So 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if you got your car and you like, well, I used to be able to see that far. It's not necessarily your eyeballs going bad. It's probably your headlights. Some of these were 60 watts and they were like 10-watt bulbs or something. That's how dim it was. It was weird. And then some of them were like cylindrical, not like the rounded pear-shaped bulbs. They were just like cylindrical bulbs. And they were bright enough, but she wanted them all to match up. And I didn't really like the fact that you had 2 pairs and then 2 cylinders in a ceiling fan that was very obvious. I mean, we're trying to get everything to look good. Weird people, man. Yes, we are. Anyway, so we did that, and what else did we do? I bought some more stuff. I ran a cable, so when we got there was this orange cable running all the way down the side of the house for the Exceed that used to be there, the crappy internet service Exceed. And so I ran a new cable because I got the antenna to work. There's a really supersized antenna out there. We don't use internet. I got the cable to work for the antenna. I ran it all the way down the line. That's 100 foot of cable. I got to get a preamp for the antenna. Internet, we have some internet. I went and got a T-Mobile internet thingy, and it works. It just doesn't work well. Although we seen a guy on the side of our road the other day when we were leaving. It was like, what are you doing? There's no houses. It's just our house on this road, basically, until you go like a mile down the road on the other side of the county line. Why are you trespassing on my property, dude? Why are you here? We stopped. He waved us down because he backed up. He was right there at the edge of our driveway, and when he seen us getting in our car, he backed halfway down the street, about 250 feet. So we pulled out, and he waved at us. We stopped, and we had a little chat with him. So apparently they're bringing fiber to the area. Who knows how long it's going to take, because they got the grant from the government to bring fiber in. Now, they did that over at the trailer we own, and they still ain't brought it down our street. They just put it up at the doctor's houses and all that. Down the street where all the trailers are, the 3 trailers, they don't, you just couldn't get it to go down there, man. I don't know. I was going to start harassing them because I run a business, but we moved, so I don't care. Let it ride. And next week I'll probably be fully dispatched. This is back to trucking. I'll probably be fully dispatched by SnoreLord, and we'll see how that works. I had a load going to, I'm on this load going to Florida, so we're trying to avoid that now, but the load paid really well. I was in Tennessee. I got all the way up to Andersonville because the second load I did was, they put the wrong product on my truck, and it was going to a different location of the same company, 120 miles down the road, so I got another 500 out of that. And then ended up picking up in Kentucky, Burnside, Kentucky, coming all the way down here to Florida to get out of the mess, because the original intention was to go Midwest, North, and so on, and the weather's been so sketchy, he couldn't send me to Carolinas, so we came down here for a good rate. Barely made it there before they closed. Lion broker again. But I'm down here. I got a load coming out. Unfortunately, it's going to be on Monday morning coming out, but it's getting me out. And the fact of the matter is, I've seen a lot of people that were going to some of these places that were like in the Carolinas, sitting there for 3 days, sitting there for 12 hours because of the snow and all this other garbage. Man, what a mess. What a mess. Anyway, so I'm rambling. It's 30 minutes. Hopefully there won't be no more truck repairs. It's been running good as far as that goes, and I haven't seen any leaks. So there's that. One other thing. So I replaced the fuel pump on my APU, right? I think there's a guy that told me, he's like, well, you'll be replacing it again in another 3 to 6 months. And I think he's right, because there's been times when it's running or when it's just starting where it wants to get stupid. It'll sound like it's choking and bogging down, like it's choking and bogging down. But other than that, I mean, it's been running great. Fires right up on a flash and everything, so it runs amazingly well. And now that I've said that, it's probably going to die on me, and I ain't got my tools with me, so hopefully it won't die on me. But I gotta make another 20 G's, man. Something like that. I don't know what the exact number is. Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20. It's got to be 25. I got to make another 100. I got to make some moolah. So we want to pay for this house and the other few things that I have to pay for. All in all, I'm way less in debt than all you people. No, I'm just kidding. But I am way less in debt than the average American, which is a really good thing. So I'm just hoping the market doesn't crash anytime soon. It's coming, people. Not just the stock market, not just the crypto market, but the trucking industry as well. It'll be here soon enough. When? Who knows, man? But it's coming. It's a cyclical business, and don't be surprised. Be prepared, because we all know it's going to happen. Anyway, y'all have a blessed day. I'll talk to y'all later.